One of the weirdest things about Cameron Boozer to me is the level of fatigue that some people seem to have with him, which is not normally something you get with prospects. But Boozer to me is the best prospect in all of high school, or really arguably aside from Cooper, the best prospect in the world, period. And because he's been this way since he was 14 years old, people have kind of soured on Boozer despite the fact that he's only gotten better. So let's break down this Boozer game. Would really appreciate likes, comments. If we get to 100 likes, I will make whatever video the top comment wants. So let's make that happen. But I wanted to start by going back in time to Boozer's sophomore season, where he spent most of his time playing on the perimeter. Sets a screen here, but Boozer's going to eventually act as the point guard, 6'8", 6'9", probably 6'10" or 6'11" at this point when he's 17 years old. Boozer's simply going to take his man off the dribble, use a couple hesitations, and finish a crazy little scoop layup here. And then here's your average 15-year-old, 6'8", 6'9" kid whipping a left-handed offhand skip pass off the dribble to his shooter in the corner. Like, extremely normal stuff. This is how 15-year-old Cam Boozer was. He was taking defenders 1v1 off the dribble, overwhelming and dunking all over them. And most of the time, Boozer got doubled and tripled because of this. But one of the best things about Boozer, at least at this age and still is to me, is how well he processes the floor and how well he understands his own scoring gravity. Two defenders come to Boozer because he will shoot this, and he's just going to simply kick to his wide open teammate on the right wing. This happened all the time because Boozer is such a threat. Again, hard trap here. Boozer simply escapes with the left hand, creates a good shot via a hockey assist. Even Boozer's ability to like play off ball at a young age. Once again, he was still 15 about at this time, and Boozer's simply realizing that he's getting denied here. I'm simply going to slip back door, catch the ball, and finish in traffic. This is extremely advanced stuff for someone his age. I don't think that's particularly controversial or insightful to say. Boozer, quick cross the middle, draws multiple defenders, one dig, three sets of eyes on him in the paint. Simple kick out for a wide open three that, ends up becoming a closeout drive. His teammate ends up scoring. And he was very comfortable working in this like high post kind of action, especially with his brother Caden. Man, he's so much shorter now. Caden Boozer's growth spurt is very evident, as we'll see later in this video. But Cam was comfortable doing this like perimeter off ball stuff and, scoring in the mid range and doing all of this stuff where he was playing on the outside. Here's him at one of these like top 100 camps crossing over. Like this level of advanced handling coordination, he might have been 16 at this point. Boozer stringing together moves and fakes. I love the change of direction here to get by this defender. Boozer makes it look so easy. I think this passes in here a little bit earlier, but great skip. I think this clip meant to be later. But again, quick skip to the corner. Once again, 16 in this one. Beautiful processing. He sees the floor with snappy vision. But one thing that Boozer wasn't always great at was interior scoring and post-up stuff, where Boozer wasn't always able to impose his will physically, and as a scorer back when he was 15, oftentimes he would just kind of like throw up bad shots from the post versus double teams, or he wouldn't really be able to move defenders and would kind of throw stuff away. But taking a look at Boozer now, 17-year-old Cam playing in his final EYBL season, there's a great little dime. I think I also messed up having this clip here. Enjoy the immediate processing, quick down low. But Boozer is now a demonic post-up interior scorer, arguably the best in the entire country. And we can kind of visualize this looking at the evolution of his synergy play types over his career as we kind of look back at his younger days where it was cuts and offensive rebounds was the main stuff. And now and then you can kind of see in 2023 in high school, he evolved into like a pick and roll ball handler, isolation scorer. And then as he got even older, he became more of a post-up guy, where now in his last EYBL season, his post-up frequency is highest it's ever been. His spot-up frequency is second highest only to his 2024 high school. And I think Boozer's role flexibility, this is something I've talked about on this channel and will continue to talk about, is one of the most impressive facets of his game. And to me, one of the clearest indicators of star upside that we have at this level, that Boozer has been able to do everything, and he's evolved into a post-up player just because that's what works. He's the most dominant post-up player in the world, basically, outside of college. And this kind of like mentality shift isn't always common with young players, especially applying physicality, which Boozer's so good at, throwing his chest into a defender and using his amazing touch to scoop it into the rim right there. It's not always easy for young players to make this change, to totally change up their play style, to be a guy who like seals hard in the post right here. Boozer's going to simply catch over two defenders, just throw it in without really much trouble at all right there. Boozer has changed his mentality in a way that's really rare to me. Great play here. He's just going to catch the ball, sees the defenders on his high side, immediate spin baseline, pump fake, finish. He's so decisive and quick with his post-up actions. Boozer again just going to seal here, finish with his left hand. He's so good at creating these deep catches for himself where Boozer will work to seal inside the restricted area. So all he has to do is, yeah, I'm 6'10", I'm taller than you, I have great touch, I'm just going to go up with my left hand and score really easily. Obviously, Boozer still does a lot of the perimeter shit. He's an incredible offensive rebounder as well. Throws this defender away, can't end up finishing, but grabs his own offensive board and puts it back in. Like, amazing offensive rebounder with incredible motor. A lot of these top prospects aren't always super willing to do like the cutting offensive rebounding stuff at the level that Boozer can, and he has gotten so damn strong. Boozer muscling this defender away, drawing a foul. He's a foul drawing monster and a very good free throw shooter. Very, very difficult to stay in front. As we even go back to these plays from like a couple years ago, when Boozer was working in the post and struggling to, generate any push. But now we go a couple years into the future, and Boozer is like very comfortably winning off the dribble, throwing defenders aside and drawing fouls. And he really is deadly as a straight line driver. We saw in the play type frequency that he is a spot up guy right now. And a lot of this has come via pick and pop, where he is maybe at his most deadly these days as a pick and popper, where Boozer can shoot, he can pass, he can dribble, and bigs at this level really cannot contend with his level of handling and coordination and speed. Boozer pump fakes, or doesn't really even pump fake, dribbles, and this is all with his off hand, his weak left hand. He is such a skilled player. Boozer taking two dribbles with the left hand, gathering, hanging, and finishing with his left hand. He is a ridiculously efficient finisher with both hands. This time we see Boozer pull out the pump fake, though. Because he is a good and willing deep range shooter, which we'll get into, Boozer loves to shoot these threes as a trailer. Glances at the rim. His speed, coordination, inside hand finish that time because, I don't know, presumably that was just the most attractive finishing option there. And again, we see the strength really pop out. Boozer driving 1v1 versus this defender, able to get a little step. He's not like the greatest first step guy ever. Like, he's not going to always win cleanly off the dribble. He can do that, but because of his handle, strength, touch, and skill, look at that beautiful finish right there, scooping it with the left hand, full extension. I do think Boozer isn't, if there's anything that would worry me about his translation as an interior scorer, it would be how below the rim he tends to be. Boozer's like a pretty solid, good vertical athlete, and he's very tall, but he will resort to these like really difficult scoop touch type finishes because he's just so good at them. Though I do think we've seen enough of Boozer winning easy at the rim. But again, we see him attacking off of the pick and pop here. Very common action with his brother Caden especially, and just crazy finish there, flicking it in, touch on the move. All of us at his height are pretty crazy. But Boozer definitely can falter as a driver when he over-relies on this strength. And I think if there's anywhere to be concerned, it would be how much stronger is Boozer going to get. Here's him playing against another NBA-level defender in Asa Newell. Tries this spin move, can't finish over a really great contest, ends up grabbing his own offensive rebound on that clip right there. Again, Boozer trying to go through a defender's chest here, and though he is able to get a little bit of push here, we can see Boozer just throws up a kind of bad shot. Maybe he was trying to draw a foul there. Not something that I would say is really good process overall. And here we're going to get Boozer going against a small one. This is an issue that I have for literally basically every young player. Early pickups, I talk about it all the time. Boozer crossing over, can't really create an advantage because this smaller defender kind of just doesn't move. he probably shouldn't be picking the ball up this early. Doesn't really see a pass out option and kind of throws up a bad shot. But again, he's always moving to get his own offensive boards, which is, again, a lot of players, after a shot goes up and they know it's not going in, they won't fight for an offensive board and try to just make chaos happen like Boozer will. I think that play ended up resulting in someone else getting an offensive rebound, which is just a showcase of how ridiculous that offensive rebounding is. And Boozer's passing is really amazing too. Again, we see he's like picking up the ball kind of early, not extending this advantage, but especially as a passer to cutters, we saw earlier in this video, Boozer sees Caleb Wilson slipping, and he's going to release this pass right when Wilson clears this first defender, but not the second one. Because he understands momentum and that Wilson is moving to the space, he passes to that open space and trusts his guy to go finish, which Caleb Wilson is able to do there. Boozer is lethal passing from the middle of a zone where he like defenses just can't really do much about him because obviously he's an incredible scorer from the spot, but he gets basically double teamed here. This defender has his hands on the ball, and Boozer's still going to slip this in a crazy tight window to Caleb Wilson here for an easy dunk right there. Boozer is an excellent passer out of the post just in general. He is very, very good at playing off of these double teams, which he sees all the time. And as we see, this is another evolution of his game, where this mostly looked like Boozer playing off double teams from the perimeter. Like we went back to with his earlier tape, Boozer was catching from the perimeter and, you know, seeing doubles as a pick and roll guy. And while that definitely still happens, he's not running as many pick and rolls as he once did, just because, you know, or at least in my opinion, that's probably because of how dominant Boozer is as an interior scorer, and that's just the best thing for his team to win. And Boozer is obviously a winner. He won back-to-back EYBL Peach Jam championships. You know, he's like won every FIBA championship. But Boozer, again, sees the double team coming here, kicks it down to Dante Allen. That's just an easy play. And again, we see a soft press that Boozer's easily going to shred. He clearly does process the floor well. I don't think he's like a special passer. Like Cooper's probably a little bit better than him, which the video we did recently. But Boozer is so good, like catching and then immediately making a decision, where before Boozer even catches this ball, he knows where the defense is. He knows where his teammate is. Doesn't really even have to look at this teammate to decide he's making this pass, and ends up throwing a beautiful on-target assist there that converts into a layup because of Boozer's really amazing processing speed. Now, the processing speed certainly is not perfect, especially on the move, on the short roll. I think Boozer is still improving here, where he probably has a couple plays that he could make here. Boozer has Wilson cutting pretty wide open. I think that would have been a dunk if he just makes this pass, or he could kick out to a great shooter in Dante Allen. But, I mean, we see Boozer grab another one of his own offensive rebounds and finish. It's like, how much can you really dock it? But I do think this is a showcase of that. Boozer, while he's a really nice passer, isn't always perfect passing on the move. And then, then you get plays like this where Boozer's going to skip to the corner, but he is also not technically on the move here, as Boozer pump fakes, takes a dribble, hop steps, and reads that there are two defenders sinking here into Caleb Wilson. Allen's open, skips it all the way across the court, gets his man a wide open three-point attempt. Very, very impressive stuff, I must say, as a whole. I do have nitpicks with his playmaking, but it's impressive. And then the shooting and the shot making is the special sauce for someone of his height. We already showcased how he can, you know, handle and score at the rim, but Boozer's like incredible fadeaway mid-range touch is remarkable for someone as young as him, as skilled as him. Boozer's so good spinning into these shots. He's so balanced and coordinated. And again, attacking a spaced floor, he's really, really deadly, as Boozer's going to kind of early pick up here. He gets into this defender, picks up the ball low, but simple pivot, fade away. He's unstoppable from this mid-range area. His efficiency has always been remarkable from basically everywhere on the floor, but especially on these mid-range kind of pull-up, fade-away jumpers. And there's just not a lot that shorter defenders can do against Boozer. Even when he's kind of stopped in the mid-range, he's just going to turn around and fade away and hit these jumpers over defenders without really stressing much. And he's obviously comfortable doing this from the perimeter, dribbling over defenders in like pick and roll here, hitting an elbow pull-up, smooth, kind of contested. Like, there really isn't much you can do with him given his kind of size and height. I love this space creation. Again, against an NBA defender, an Ace Newell here. He gets low here. Boozer uses the kind of like off-arm push, right foot stab to kind of get into his jumper. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. And over the years, Boozer has improved a ton as a three-point shooter, and I think he's obviously going to be a great shooter. The percentages aren't amazing, but that's very common at a young age. And Boozer is now comfortable punishing defenders when they go under. Notice basically all of his threes are going to be from beyond the last line, which I believe is like the college or the FIBA or the NBA line. I should actually know this. But again, Boozer is simply smoothly moving. Wilson sets him a screen. They try to switch this, and Boozer's like, nah, you can't do that. I'm going to punish you by taking these threes. And they don't all go in, like I said, but his like willingness and mentality and confidence. I've talked about how much volume and shot versatility are important for projecting shooting. Boozer is an awesome trail three-point shooter. He loves to simply like walk into these deep threes in early offense because defenses will sag off him because of how deadly he is as a paint scorer, and then Boozer will punish them. We saw a couple pick and pop drives and passes earlier. Obviously, the pop part is important, and Boozer is a major shooting threat. That's why he draws hard closeouts and can do all of that other stuff. Boozer has even shown the ability to like come off of screens at times, which is insane for a 6'10", 17-year-old, where Boozer sets from beyond the line. Easy like catch and fire there. It's nothing like sprinting and changing directions and like bending his body like Duncan Robinson or whatever, but for a 6'10 guy backing up here off of this little flare screen to NBA range, this is a play they'll run for him all the time, where they'll have Dante Allen setting this kind of in-screen, and Boozer will back out and hit these threes. Defenses don't close out nearly as hard as they should to Boozer. I don't really know why, but we've seen so much different stuff that he's done just in this video, right? You know, playing on the interior, playing on the perimeter, playing as a cutter, passing, shooting, from all different areas. And one of my favorite examples of role versatility as kind of a proxy for star upside is his fellow Knight Riders alum, Scotty Barnes, who at Knight Riders in EYBL was their point guard. He was playing on the perimeter, he was driving using his craft and his pace. He would like spot up and size up from the perimeter and just like take pull-up threes in people's faces. And then when he went to the Montverde sample, he was like a connective post-up player, making simple passes, scoring from the post, playing defense. And I think all of these roles that Scotty filled as a young player helped him blossom into the star that he is today. And I think that's the case with Cam. Maybe my favorite example of this is the FIBA sample, where Cam is playing with all of the other best American players in the world. There's no room for him to just like be a guy who can't play off ball, can't play with other players. And of course, Cam can do his stuff as a primary. Beautiful spin move here. I feel like we didn't, or like maybe I didn't talk enough about Cam's handle in this video, because it is really incredible. It's basic stuff here, but survives the dig, keeps the dribble alive to spin himself to the front side of this defender and score really easily. Actually, we did show some handling stuff earlier, but Boozer is like back-to-back kind of highlights here. He's going to sprint off of, not really a screen, notices his big defender sagging, lifts to the top of the key, catches and hits like a light movement three, and then later in that game, Boozer's going to, or just a couple minutes later in that quarter, he's simply going to seal a smaller defender and score at the rim. So many of his buckets in FIBA look like this, where it's like, all right, I'm the biggest, strongest, best touch player on the floor. We're going to score as easily as possible. And that's one of the keys to high school scouting to me, is looking for players who make it look really easy, because all true NBA players, it looks easy for them in high school, and Boozer passes that with flying colors. This video is about his special offense, but his defense is really good too. Like, Boozer is a really solid weak side rim protector, uses his great positioning and smarts on the weak side along with his size. When you park him at the rim, because again, he was basically playing center for a lot of his time, he was really good blocking shots with his length, and he has the mobility to stick on the perimeter as well. He's switched on, and he's going to wall off Tyron Stokes, another top player in the country here, get a really nice block. I don't think Boozer's like a Cooper Flagg level defender or anything. That's not a fair not a fair comparison. But I do think he's a very good defender, especially among these elite scoring prospects. A lot of them aren't great defenders, but Boozer is amazing. Like Paolo, for example, who I think he's compared to, wasn't a good defender really at the same stage, where Boozer decidedly is, even if he isn't spectacular. But I think all of this development curve stuff the path that Boozer's taken, all of the different things that he's done, and the fact that no matter the stop, no matter the team, no matter the roster, Boozer just wins. He wins and he puts up numbers and he impacts winning. He is good. He is good, dare I say, great everywhere he goes. And that's basically that's the short of it, and we shouldn't be sleeping on these type of players. Obviously, when we get into the weeds of it, there's so much that makes sense as like an elite pro scorer, being able to do everything, scoring on seals, posts up, isolations, running some pick and rolls by himself, moving off of screens. He can basically do everything on offense that you ask him to, and there's obviously real star pathways for him as an elite tall shooter, as well as his mid-range creation and interior scoring, plus the passing and the defense. But the ceiling is really like unbelievable for Boozer, and I'm excited to see what he does in his last high school season. Because he has already accomplished everything. Like, what is he going to add to his game next? I don't know, and I'm very excited to find out. But let me know what you think about Cam Boozer after this video, if your mind was changed, if you were low, or your thoughts in general, and who you want to see next.